afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast. I'm your host, Imperial Dane, Master Propaganda Hero, Strike Defender of the Fatherland, of yet an exciting 1 vs 1 on. Crossing in the woods between the south, we got here Fortune, fighting for Germany, Deutschland, the 2nd Panzerdivision, taking, well, he is taking on the road of the 2nd Panzerdivision, messed it up already there, but fighting for Germany. In the north, we got Vonivan, fighting for America, freedom and democracy, taking on the role here of the 5th Infantry Division, tasked with delaying the 2nd Panzer Division's movements until armoured reinforcements can arrive to crush the Krauts. And we've got here encirclement, fortified armour and lead troops with anti-tank gun bullets and other Flammenpanzerwerken versus Vonivan's armour company with triple infantry. Double rifles out here for Vonivan as he moves down westwards aggressively, seeking out fuel, the nectar of democracy. In the south here, MD-42's pioneers moving westwards as well, requiring fuel as well. The juice of Deutschland. Grenadiers there following up for Fortune and the German army. And we can see, in fact, Vonivan is moving straight ahead for all of the large resource points, leaving another unit to actually that way follow up and connect. And that's actually a very interesting sort of way of capturing points, and definitely one I think to consider. Well, not necessarily for beginners, but sort of more intermediate, high-level play. That's definitely probably to an extent a more efficient way of doing it, actually, because the strategic points are easy to grab anyway. So just focusing on the higher points that take longer to secure anyway, and sort of denying to the opponent if he sort of goes for a more conventional way of doing it, has its advantages. And now Vonivan is dug in here, and here in this case, he quickly finds himself undug out and pushed back by the MD-42, the pioneers and the Grenadiers. But of course, this signals to Fortune. There be Yankees about, ja, Ludwig. I can smell it in the air. It's a cheap cologne. Really? Yeah. Saturn also bacon grease. I don't know why, but they put it on everything. Wilson's flanking the MD-42. Vonivan strikes. And fortunately, I think is all committing. Actually not being interested to more to trend, but it seems like Orwell is committing largely what's going on here. The wiring off the entrance to the house up in the north. Gonna need to support the machine gun there before it gets swapped up. The M1 carbines up close, plinking away for freedom. Grenadiers getting some kills in the rear echelons, slowly murdering them. The M1 carbine, which recently was intended for rear service troops, but rather found itself popular with the frontline troops as well, as it was rather handy in some ways, though it did have its flaws. It lacked some punch, and in some cases, I think as though in the Pacific, they reported they had to shoot them several times to actually kill the bastards with the M1 carbine. But still, it was a weapon that saw some usage. In fact, there was also, by the later stage of war, actually an automated version of it, sort of fully automatic, like an assault rifle, which actually even saw a bit of usage on the Western Front, though not in large numbers. But it did see there was also a infrared sniper rifle version of it. So some fun facts there. You can see Fortune coming to the centre there, trying to perhaps hit Vonivan's cough point, was going for assault engineers. Fortune will likely infer that means he's might have to worry about demo charges then for Vonivan. I mean, the sort of surprise element there I think has worn off by now, so now if you do see assault engineers, you should be anticipating demo charges. But so far Vonivan's having a nice lead there fuel-wise over Fortune. Fortune's initial push there was disrupted, and so again he's not trying to shift his angle there so much as he's just trying to actually win and then sort of grab it. But that does mean Vonivan is going to get some fuel there ahead of Fortune, so we'll have to see how this works out, but it does have some potentially worrying implications for Fortune in the longer term. But he's going heavy on the Grenadiers there, which could indicate he might be planning a tier 3 rush to counter this, skipping the 2nd tier, which is a bit risky as the Americans as they push ahead. Something fast like an M20 on anti-aircraft half-track, and you can see in fact there's Vonivan, he's pushing for the lieutenant, the platoon command post. Right from there, taking losses there from the Grenadiers up close. The M1 carbines are now in M1 Garands on underwhelming numbers versus the Carabiner Quartz. Point there secured, ground back the fuel point for the Fatherland, back here bunker up for Fortune, tech up there. Pushing again for the cough point there, and this time they're being surrounded by angry Americans. A grease gun wielding assault engineers there clearing up the Germans, rifles moving forwards there. The MD-42 there low on health remains frontline position. We even got some mines here, but Vonivan already his mines was up to deal with this German interference of the freedom of movement. Vonivan clearly a big believer in freedom of movement. Hang on, Cat wants to get in. Cat break, cat break, cat break, cat break, cat break. That's little cat. Passing light. Pat break is over. Also, big thanks to Dion for donating and supporting the Propagandacast. Most appreciated, Dion. You're what allows me to keep doing this day after day. And of course, the rest of you, remember to support the war effort and donate if possible. If you can, that is. Anyways, Rifleman versus Grenadiers. Rifle Grenade off in an attempt to catch him. Doesn't quite work out. Being pushed back here by the Rifleman. In the south, troops healing and reinforcing as Fortune prepares for the next big push here with the 2nd Panzer Division. And we got the Lieutenant here, of course, tipping his hand towards Fortune that he is tagged up. I'm reasonably sure Fortune is not going to be, you know, thinking, aha! He's going to be more like, ah, scheisse. Or seeing as he's actually finished, it might be Perkele. However that goes. So the question is he going to go for the tier 3 rush? I mean, he has sort of build there for it, for Grenadiers, MD42. The issue is, of course, the fuel supply isn't quite conducive for it. Grenadiers holding up there. Pushing up towards the centre, we got the Lieutenant there, nicely positioned there, heavy cover. And with the BAR and all the M1 Garand, it's going to be very difficult there for Fortune to close in with the MD42. We got Rifle flanking in there as well. He needs to get the Pioneers up close to have a chance with the Rifleman. Pushing up the east, in the west there, big push there. We got flamethrowers out here from now to burn out the crowds of their houses. And he needs Rifleman versus Grenadiers, anti-aircraft have to go there for Vonivan, and that'll most likely force Fortune to have to concede a tier 3 rush. It's not going to work if that is what he's planning, and we don't know specifically. Almost losing the Grenadier squad here in the west, and the white quite lost there for Fortune and the 2nd Panzer Division. Telemines down there. Fortune obviously anticipating that Vonivan's going to hit him some kind of light vehicle, and he's also anticipating it's going to happen through the centre, so some telemines there could be quite useful. Coming up these, they're going to hit for the fuel point there, not a bad idea. Basically, finally realising that the west is off limits for now, so he's going to have to hit east. Anti-aircraft attack almost done. More Grenadiers for Fortune. No tier 3 being tagged. He might of course just be keeping it, you know, his tier 2 still as an option in case he is forced to abort, so he does have the resources to build it rather than having to, you know, cancel first and so on. And we'll see though what it ends up with for Fortune. And he's gone here for fortified armor again, indicating that Fortune is probably preparing for the worst. He might even be getting a bit of deja vu there from the previous engagement. Still, the incendiary options allows his MD4 to cause a lot of damage to units here and there, like vehicles, and of course it also has the additional benefit of allowing it to gain experience a lot bloody faster, which is another reason to basically sort of try to use it actively, because I mean, in MD42 that gains strategy faster is of course also a lot more lethal versus your opponent, so there's a general benefit to doing it.
Enemy forces are securing our territory.
Still no take up. I'd like to make a nice company, but there's some minesweepers which could spot the telemine there. If Vonivan is anticipating a mine there, though, he might not in fact be. Anti-aircraft being fixed up as they grab back the CoH point. Goddamn Krauts, messing up my car. That's Uncle Sam's car. Shut up, Carl, I'll hit you with a spanner covered in grease. Oh God, I don't want to stink like bacon grease for another week. There we go, MD42 finally opening. I was starting to wonder why it wasn't bloody well shooting at those Yankees. Going to do some need to retreat. Back here being pushed back finally. Fortune getting some local superiority there versus Vonivan. The reasons that buying time for the last man to get out of there. The heroic sacrifice shall be forgotten about once this match is over. In the east though, Fortune is being pushed back again. Now could push for the west. But it certainly seems like he's landed himself in a rather sticky situation. Mines spotted. Though of course the question is, does Vonivan pay attention to this revelation? And another Grenadier squad wiped here. Looking pretty rough for Fortune. Looking pretty rough again. Grenadiers heading westwards. Turn suppress the anti-aircraft coming about. We got a demo charge down the cut-off point. Vonivan is having none more of that. With Fortune hitting his cut-off point, he's having none of that. And now we're going to do straight to the anti-aircraft attack. It's double 50 cal machine guns and it's 30 something of anti-aircraft gun. Mortar now for Fortune. He's still basically sticking to a rather extended tier 1. As Vonnevan might in fact soon be hitting tier 3 and the Shermans. The assault engineers moving into the range that I think is a bad move. Closer, the assault engineers, grease guns, and the flamethrower will certainly put the punishing moves on the gunners. They're going to see Fortune immediately retreats as he realizes his folly. In these tier gunners versus riflemen, but falling back as well. He's got access to hold down, but Fortune has nothing to hold down. I suppose we could hold down this tin of biscuits, yeah? 9. We need a tin of biscuits. For what? Air raid protection. It's the best thing we have. We don't even have bunkers. Ah, scheiße. Rifleman Rears moving about, securing the centre there slowly again. Fortune was more denied fuel. Vonnevan getting plenty of it, and there you go. Fortune is taking up this. It was a tier 3, but one that is not having a very easy time of it, thanks to Vonnevan's aggressive raids. I think also to an extent because it feels like Fortune, initially they got a bit too stuck up there in the wrong side of the map. I mean, obviously it was a bad luck, and Vonnevan went for the both point, and Vonnevan was just further ahead of him. Had he gone for another one, I think the fight could already be looking a lot different. So sometimes it just comes down to like a 50-50 chance, and you know, you choose, unfortunately. So the argument could have made, and he could have been faster to just switch sides of the map there, and I think that was sort of Fortune's bigger mistake. They just kept committing to it rather than just try to break off and head for the other field point as fast as possible then. Fortune is clearly not giving up there, and he's going for the second mortar. That's definitely a way of doing it. Double mortar. Minesweeper was out of the zone. Probably because, oh, there's barbed wire there, so that's probably got something to do with it. But he has seen the assault engineers, and I imagine Fortune is not anticipating or imagining that, you know, Vonnevan's never going to go for anything remotely resembling a demo charge. He also got grenades there for Vonnevan, increasing the firepower of his rifleman, though it does delay tech a bit. But I imagine, considering how far Vonnevan has hit, he's not too worried about that. He wants to push the advantage he has now before pushing ahead. In that regard, getting some grenades out can certainly allow him some tactical advantage there in close quarters engagement versus Fortune's troops. What, he cancelled the attack up? Strange. Going for the second MD42 there, Fortune. And an M20 out here for Vonnevan. Connect, sort of sticking to an extended tier 2 there versus Fortune of Vonnevan. Interesting there. Their bases of sticking around at the lower tiers for some time there. Fortune out of necessity to an extent, but Vonnevan just seems he's pretty comfortable here, and of course doesn't feel too pressured to sort of move ahead there, and just wants to push the advantage now. Though of course if Fortune were to push ahead for some faster medium armor, it could catch Vonnevan back off guard, but that might be going for the anti-aircraft or the M20, and also laying down a bunch of demo charges to help offset that. Wait, got the M20 out. Second M42 is caught in a bad position there for Fortune. Scheiße. Very much scheiße. Rifleman off here. Almost wipes the lieutenant. An MD42 there was set up in a very bad spot. Pushed back there by Vonnevan's brave men. But double mortars, double MD42s, quadruple grenadiers versus Rifleman lieutenant and a mix of light vehicles there for Vonnevan and the 5th Infantry. Fortune has yet to commit to further attack. Heading for the centre victory point still. I'm surprised he's not putting more effort onto any of the fuel points versus Vonnevan, to be honest. I'm guessing he's trying to just cause as much manpower damage to offset and make it harder for Vonnevan to then take up that way, which is a valid option, I guess. But there you go. Wipe the rifle squad, veteran free MD42. A small victory there for Fortune, but a small loss here as the mortar gets wiped, but he prevents the rifle from actually grabbing it. So I suppose that's something. The rifle is going to have to retreat right past the Gundys and the veteran 3 MD42. Thankfully, the incendiary plans are not ready, but there's still going to be some losses there. as Joe gets riddled with bullets. My God, they got Joe! Oh no! He was the guy who knew to cook. Into the demo charge. Oh dear, can't watch. Bunker up, hit up, can cover the center. Oh! Vonivan didn't see it and he got away from the demo charge. Mortify then the anti-aircraft half tech pushing up eastwards again. He's still not taking up. I'm guessing he's just going to try and play for the command tank. Here's that. And it is need to retreat there pretty schnell. Not mortify then the lieutenant. So only allowing 14 there to fight an attritional engagement here versus Vonivan. Of course, versus Vonivan's armor doctrine, the command tank's going to be a bit of a problem there since it's not going to be very good versus the M10s, and he's got no anti-tank. So in this regard, his strategy has a particular flaw to it. Also going to do is wipe the light machine gun drop. In fact, he's lost 2 Grenadier squads there. Got a wipe though against Vonivan, so it makes up covers it better. Oh! He's going to steal light machine gun unless he's denying it to Fortune. M20 popping smoke there to try and assist retreat of the echelons. Fortune is determined to ensure that sacred German weaponry does not fall into the hands of the Americans. And there we go. Denies the Yankees. Also gets his minesweeper removed. But there you go. As soon as that happens, he calls in the M10 tank destroyer, the Wolverine. And he saws the Telemite, and there you go. Blows it up. So now what is Fortune going to do? Because he's going to have to go for like to mechanized company now. Because he's got otherwise no option versus the M10. But he's finally able to secure the eastern fuel point there. Fortune's just heavy infantry presence with auto support weapons was actually able to just slow down Vonivan's efficient enough to buy him time and just also cause him some significant manpower bleed. So that's definitely one way of trying to handle it. And he got himself a veteran for the MD-42, which is pretty impressive. At least this fast. And this pushed back. The Fierce Panzerwagen they're hanging back. An older model was not uncommon to see older models of tanks being used as command vehicles. I know, for example, some of the SS Panzer divisions in Normandy, for example, make use of Panzer IIIs as command vehicles. They're usually on the higher levels. I don't believe there was on the company level or platoon level.
Our opponents are seizing a sector. Ready for orders.
More grenadiers there for Fortune, and the 2nd Panzer Division so far very low on Panzers, relying on Befehls Panzerwagens. Victory points wise, we're going to lead there for Vonivan over Fortune. They really need to take up soon. I also feel like if he's playing for the elephant, I think that's going to be a bad idea there for Fortune. We got the M20 moving about the undersides. Vonivan, by the way, could easily benefit from taking out now, though. I mean, just lingering about here might be a bit disadvantageous long term for Vonivan. There you go, command tank shoots and misses spectacularly. 2nd shot hits but fails to penetrate. 3rd shot that penetrates through the rear armour. 4th one seems to not do so much there. And there you go, Ludwig with the Panzerfaust, and he cracked. No! Oh, it gets abandoned. Gets abandoned. Ja, we did it. We killed the crew with our Panzerfaust. Yeah, but how do we get this thing back? So he basically sacrificed the Grenadiers to deny it to the Americans. Also forced the Vonivan to expend ammunition to deal with it. Clearing out the bunker. We got the command tank firing away there, harmlessly bouncing shells off the frontal arm of the M10. And there you go, Vonivan following up with a bulldozer Sherman. Fortune still not taking up. But looks like he's building a light to make a nice company. He's going to go for some Pack 40s. Definitely not a bad idea. They would like to see some tech, and similarly I would like to see some tech from Vonivan. But there you go, moving in the bulldozer Sherman with a 105mm gun to clear out the bunker there. Bulldozer Shermans are usually sort of part of a tank battalion, I believe. They're sort of part of the headquarters units. There'd be like a few of them attached to the unit that way, and they sort of be attached where they're needed in actual fighting. Essentially, though, it was the American version of the Stu-42, but with a turret. Demo charge went off there, killing an entire unit, destroying one of Fortune's machine gun crews. Mortars need to fall back in the face of that horror. Big push into the west. Still a fighting, dangerously close to the demo charges. He's about to lose another unit to the demos. Ooh, I think he was trying to bait him into the demo charge with a grenade there. In this case, the Fortune zigged when he should have sacked there, at least to set that thing off. There you go, got the engine wing. He's going to try again. He's going to try and go for it again. Oh, oh, that was lucky there. One man was just far enough away from the rest not to get the entire unit wiped there. But Vonivan was definitely doing his best to sort of push them into the demo charge. He was determined. Still feel like Fortune is putting too much of the focus on the centre again. It feels very much like a bit of Stalingrad syndrome, though. He is still being assisted by Vonivan, not really taking up and going for armour that way. And thusly not making full use of his fuel there. But of course the manpower bleed is also having a significant effect there actually. By basically preventing Vonivan to be able to call in all the tanks, because Fortune is just constantly pressuring the infantry, forcing Vonivan then to either have to concede ground in the front line to get out some armour, or continue fighting Fortune and keeping him contained. So in that regard, the sort of aggressive play that Vonivan is doing, and again versus Fortune's counter to it, is just causing Vonivan to suffer from a significant manpower bleed. So that is, I suppose, also worth pointing out there. So it's not like, you know, Fortune is just being completely daft here. I think he's trying to basically execute a strategy as best as he can with the resource he has, and you know, to an extent it's actually working. Otherwise, Vonivan by now would just be crushing with a lot of tanks or something else. There you go, pack for the ready. Panzerabwehr only 40. But I do still think Fortune should soon be taking up there. Go for some Stugs. He also needs to soon make something better than just holding the centre row, because he's bleeding out victory points fast compared to Vonivan. He's bleeding out fast. Pack 40 shoots, misses the anti-aircraft half-deck command tank, gains veterans 1. And gets another wipe. Again, we can sort of see here the Fortune strategy with a lot of mortars, grenadiers, machine guns is having an effect there. It is forcing Vonivan again to, you know, not throw out so many tanks, because then he just loses ground entirely in the favour of Fortune. So, I mean, it's very much sort of a counter strategy. I think Fortune's having some good success with, though, again, long term he really should consider taking up. As for Vonivan, one option would be to, you know, upgrade his rifleman with the BARs. He's got plenty of munitions to go with it, to be honest. But probably a bit cheaper then than, you know, going for more armour. There you go, Fortune finally back in the tech race. Hey, do we have to repair the half-track as close to the demo charge as this? Yeah, part of the regulations. Really? No, I'm just lazy. Shut up. Got Lieutenant there clearing out the Germans here, Reesland's trying as well, you know, to be like cool like the Lieutenant. In this case, they're just getting shot at. Mortar closing in emergency 2. Panzer IV slightly closer to the point. Back to bombardment though, from a hold down position.
Heavy machine gun team ready for orders.
M10 back in action for Vonivan. Tech done there for Fortune. He'll probably then build some pommel core, maybe push out a Stu. There's a theoretical, potentially could be aiming for tier 4 here. Don't think that'd be risky, but there you go, got another wipe. The hold on command tank is proving to be quite a useful counter, and that actually means Vonivan is just down to the reasons, the lieutenant and the assault engineers, meaning Fortune actually has the infantry advantage. Of course, the issue is still all the armour and vehicles, which makes it harder for Fortune to play it, but he's successfully been able to grind away Vonivan's infantry, and there's certainly an argument that Vonivan perhaps should be more careful with his troops around Fortune's forces and all of his mortars. And certainly maybe should have considered something like a Sherman Scott to provide smoke screens to cover his own troops, and just laid down smoke screens using his rifleman. That is actually probably one of the Vonivan's tactical areas. That could have done him a lot of good just laying down some smoke. Comparatively, Fortune has at least made some use of it, though not a great deal. There you go, target weak point. Heat round there goes through the armor of the Sherman, does some damage. But I think the heat rounds were primarily used on the lower velocity guns, like on the command tank, to be honest, and stuff like the PAC-40. Basically, where it saw most use was actually 1942, the early bits there, sort of right after the failure to take Moscow, and they're sort of being counterattacked. The Germans sort of rather rapidly rushed heat rounds to the front line, allowing the tanks which had previously struggled with T-34s and K1s to actually suddenly, you know, deal with them quite nicely. In fact, it shot the rations quite aggressively. They took some time to actually quite adjust to the fact that Germans could now take them out at much longer ranges than they could have before, thanks to the heat rounds. But I'm not so sure that heat rounds played such a big role later into the war. They did also have other rounds like tungsten rounds, but the problem is they had to use the tungsten for other things, and so they rather had to drop that one off. A little fun fact there. A little fun fact there. Whoa, he's attacking straight from the command tank. A bow move there by Vonivan and his lieutenant. Got a 50 cover down the center and hang on. Second cat break? Really? Second cat break? It's a bit fast. That cat wants to get out again, I suppose. One must be open. Get out. Oh, my apologies for that one. Second bulldozer Sherman there. Fortune's got the Supoma crop. He's going to need those two guys as soon as possible. Almost got the 50 caliber there. Vonivan really needs to his infantry preservation. Half track finally goes down. A big relief there off Fortune's shoulders, as there's now less to contend with in terms of stuff that can hold back his infantry. And unlike Vonivan, Fortune has been replacing infantry losses rather religiously. Got a command bullshit and they're flanking behind, hitting the support weapons, but gets hit there by the heat rounds. Stuns up the entire tank. Down to half health ish and needs to fall back. Quick hit here in the west. Command bullshit and M10 supporting a Western squad. Then in the centre got Lieutenant squad. Finding some smoke down there by from Vonivan's lieutenant. Soldiers moving up so much, trying to get out that 50 cover back. Of course, he still has to remember he's in the front of two mortar teams that could try and silence everything he's got going there with some high explosives. There you go, use the lieutenant to recruit. Interesting choice, and just needs to get everything out of there before it's too late. Vonivan remains in a good control situation. Big 2 points by versus Vonivan. Ooh, lost the assault engineers though. Really needs to be careful around those mortars. And of course, those Germans in general. But there you go, Stug on the way. Command tank closing in on Veteran 2. Vonivan's over, he's going to need some more infantry. But Fortune's manpower bleeds strong. He's working to an extent, except he barely got any victory points left as a Vonivan. And in that regard, he needs to change up his tactics a bit and actually secure some before he loses the game. But the Stug is going to do a lot of good there for Fortune in pushing back against the American armor. Though he does need to keep it covered with the PAC-40 to avoid the M10 just, you know, outmaneuvering or crushing it. But there you go. PAC-40 Veteran 3, by the way, sets up to destroy it though. There you go, stuns it. Note, by the way, Veteran 3 means it has a high rate of fire. The Stug's student there as well. Ooh, misses, but there you go. Stug lands a hit, and the PAC-40 might be able to finish it. And there you go, M10 down, abandoned even. M24 coming fire. Then could lose the bulldozer going down here, and almost got it. Sliver of health left. Another M10 out there for Vonivan. The centre 50 cover needs to retreat. He's about to lose it here to German mortify again. Vonivan just keeps pressuring into it. He might want to consider his plans when they involve attacking into the area with 2 mortars able to cover it. Oh, tactical error there by Fortune. Moved his Duke too far ahead there. Maybe they've been a pathing error, misclick, who knows. But all the way, gets struck there by Von M10. Can the Pack 40 take care of it before the Duke is lost? Oh dear, and the M10 gets beyond the arc of fire there of the Pack 40. Bullets coming in from the other side. Almost got the Duke, but he's going to lose the M10 at this rate. Ah, yes, M10 down, Duke survives. Von Ivan's barely got anything left now. Lieutenant and 2 bulldozers Germans. On the other hand, Fortune's down to 10 victory points. Bulldozer Germans stand up. And loses the bulldozer German. Now Von Ivan's got almost... Wow! He's down to the ambulance and a lieutenant. Fortune's down to 10 victory points though. Ten victory points. That's not a lot.
M10 tank destroyer ready for deployment.
Another M10 out for Von Ivan. I think Von Ivan needs to play it a bit more carefully, try and see if he can't sort of bait Fortune into making a mistake somewhere, and then, you know, that way bleed him out and get back onto the field. Right now though, he can't afford any losses. He needs to build up some kind of at least half decent force. But there he goes, quickly pushing for the victory point. I mean, he's got one in the Easter by. Fortune needs to hit that one as well. So there's a small chance he might be able to pull through. He just needs to somehow grab it before it's too late. And of course, that might also been the reason for now lost many units, because he just kept making orders against short-term bets. And just being able to finish right before everything, and he just doesn't need to be able to alter his forces. Now for now, he's just down to an ambulance. Again, he's really making a lot of not very good calls based on this. Again, he's just getting so greedy here. So absolutely greedy. It's costing him heavily, and in fact he's probably throwing away the match, because again, he just played a bit more sensibly. He could probably set up for a better attack. They could then take the points that would just, you know, let Fortune have the last few victory points. But because Von Ivan is just blinded here by the greed for victory, he just sort of keeps making all of these really, really short-term trade-offs, because he's all considered just, you know, if I just hold on for like 10 more seconds or whatever, I win this. I win this. And honestly, one of the things you always have to keep in mind when you get to this point is you actually have to keep in mind yourself. You have to sort of keep yourself tight in the ears, you know, prevent yourself from thinking like that, because that's usually a very nasty way to sort of more or less lose a match. I mean, again, here's down to 10 victory points. So Von Ivan just, you know, realizes his mistakes, you know, jiggers everything in terms of tactics and strategies, just reorients himself. He might be able to pull through nonetheless, but he's made it very difficult for himself. In fact, he's even pushing out his medics here. So Von Ivan is clearly desperate. Von Ivan is clearly desperate. He clearly knows he's put himself in a very awkward position. We got a Stuke there hold down. You rarely get to see a Stuke hold down, because usually it's not a very good idea. In this case, Fortune doesn't care. He wanted to hold on his Stuke, and by Jove, he'd do so. More ramping up for Von Ivan. Got the medics left to defend the point here. No weapon rack still, no BARs, no bazookas. Mein Gott, Jürgen, you're using medics. You have to respond in kind. I get all medics. Nine, shoot them, you idiot. Wow, the medics actually got a kill there. Yeah, this is our hippopotamus oath. Isn't it Hippocrates? No, hippopotamus. Kill bastards. Alright. So yeah, the medics successfully defended the victory point. The medics successfully did. And there you go, smokescreen off. Of course, got Germans. Then, of course, there's also the mortars. Of course, it's not a hold down command tanks. I suppose it's somewhat useful. More rifle grenade off. Oh, smokescreen off. He's just trying to maintain it. Even again, as we got one medic squad defending the eastern victory point. Fortune needs to push everything in, and there you go. Command tank just unholds down. 50 cup setting up, and all the smoke here from the rifle makes it hard. They need to retreat one though. Again, he can't afford any losses. Command tank moving in. Needs to get something in there as well. He's almost got the point. He does it. He did it. Oh god. Need to retreat the rifleman though. Smoke screen popped there from the command tank. He's stalling. He's calling in artillery as well. Oh, grenade. Oh god. Oh, the artillery was far off the mark. He gambled everything. In this case, the artillery betrayed. He's called another M10 though. Ah, so close. 3 points left for Fortune though. 3 points left. He gets hit by his own artillery. Oh no. And loses the M10. Everything that could have gone wrong there, but that artillery strike pretty much did. It did more harm to VonIvan than it did to Fortune. And he's even got an M10 there back in action. Medics back in action. They're finally falling back there. VonIvan realizes they can't hold the line anymore. Needs to be careful by running past his own demo charge. There's a likelihood there that Fortune might set it off. So 3 points left in between Fortune and VonIvan, or for Fortune versus VonIvan. 3 points left. But again, he's just let himself so much out there that it's going to be incredibly difficult to do anything. Bunker's going down there. Grabbing the other point. He might also want to bunker down around here. There's got the MD-42 behind the wreckage of an M10 tank destroyer. There you go. The ambulance destroyed. Fortune's tank destroyers, they're rowing between the base structures looking to crush anything non-German. There you go, another M10 out there for VonIvan to counter the German M10. German M10 gets the first shot in there, that penetrates. American M10 gets in the second one. Another hit there from the German one. American one misses. Oh dear. 300 points left there. Go another hit and another hit. Oh, almost got the American M10 with the German M10. And Fortune breaks off. Almost got with the demo charge there, but not quite. Command tank hold down the center victory point, being repaired as well. Unless they can leave hanging back, might consider machine gun bunker there. All we need to do is successfully defend the eastern victory point as well then. And VonIvan somehow needs to be a lot of force that can actually do it. He's even going for Thompson's here on the M10. VonIvan is clearly thinking something here. But what it is, I've no idea. And there you go, machine gun bunker being dug down here and here as well. Fortune preparing for the ultimate defense of Das Vaterland. There you go, machine gun bunker up here by the more pressing point, trying to stall. There you go, push back, machine gun bunker halfway done. M10 almost done there for VonIvan. Thompson's up as well, done the vehicle crew. Got the German 50 caliber there being pushed again for VonIvan. Machine gun back up as well there, and he's smoking there. But gets pinned before the smoke screen goes off, which will slow down the cap grabbing on the point. Another M10 out there for VonIvan, another M10. Oh, this is terrible. VonIvan is so close, but he's made it so difficult for himself. Well, those really bad calls earlier when he just, had the advantage, but because he just so only winning the match, really quickly pushed it all away. Stu being held down around the centre as well, but now the western one is open. Ish. Third and final machine gun bunker there for Fortune. Defend all 3 victory points. M10 going after the M10s. Straight to both of them. Rather ambitious there by Fortune. Less than half health there. Rifleman Lieutenant versus the Grenadiers. Or medics versus the Grenadiers. Using the German M10 to crash the rifle. Yeah, how do you like being crushed, you Schweinhund? How do you like being destroyed? House down. Closing in there, though. Closing in. And something resembling victory here, though, for Fortune. He's bleeding out for now, slowly but surely. Anti-tank rifle grenade goes off there. Popping in, the M10's going to go for the German M10. He's trying to overdrive or flanking speed out. It doesn't work out, and the M10 gets blown to bits. Gets absolutely blown to bits.
M10 tank destroyer ready.
Third M10 out. For now, there's clearly planning some kind of tank destroyer assault there to overthrow Fortune and destroy him. But will it succeed? Another Stu got there for Fortune. For now, he's clearly signaling where it's going to be striking here. And there you go, in preparation, Fortune is hunting down a Stug. I don't think I've seen this many hold down Stug. Jeez, I mean, it's exactly the same. I've just seen so many times being hold down in one match in like forever. Hold down is itself fair enough, but to see a Stug being held down, hey, that's like bloody well seeing a unicorn. For now, he makes a quick switch there from the west towards the east. Very good. A lot less defended. Come out and opening out the pack, following in the Ace Pack 40 crew there. The Hero Tank Destroyer team. And out there in the M10s, quickly doing some damage. Almost got the machine gun bunker there. There we go. Down it goes. Down it goes. Fortune turning these Dukes there towards the east. Count down to Yankees. Air reconnaissance from Fortune. Searching out Von Iron's positions. Looking for traps and other naughty things. Duke about to get flanked out the pack 40 they're supporting. Duke they're trying to outmaneuver. Almost got it. There we go. There we go. M10 got a main gun out. Main gun. Oh, turret jam there. M10 down. And got another M10 there. Von Iron's down to one M10. Down to one M10 versus two Stugs. Three Stugs actually. The third Stug's yet to be here. Grenades going off there. M10 turns around back. They almost got one Stug, but there you go. Stug and Pack 40 gets it. Blowing apart. But there you go. Fourth M10 out. A mad dash there by Von Ivan. 68 points left. He keeps fighting. There you go. Fresh Stug arrives and the M10 goes down. Two rifle squads left there for Von Ivan and the medic still. This is a tide of Sturmgeschütz. More pioneers there for Fortune. 46 points left here between Fortune and Von Ivan. But it would seem like Fortune basically prevailed because he was able to switch over from a strategy of just, trying to fulfill the project for fast tech to a strategy of attrition, bleeding out for Von Ivan. And Von Ivan largely played into it until he realised he was actually being bled out, and then sort of, instead of trying to change his tack to respond to it, rather just went all in an attempt to finish the fight faster, thusly avoiding the attrition, except because he was then making really, really short-sighted decisions that did not consider the long term, he actually fit into Fortune's strategy, bleeding himself out even faster. It certainly stands out a bit. Then Fortune, of course, I mean, it was a really risky strategy in some ways because it was actually close to losing out on victory points. In that regard, Fortune really would have benefited from just being able to switch approach and attack vectors there versus Von Ivan faster, and thus, not getting quite so caught down in things. But overall, I think an interesting fight there. A lot of Stugs, a lot of hold down tanks. You rarely get to see that for sure. M10 tank destroys riflemen, abandoned vehicles, flanks. I mean, I think a lot going for plus, of course, double mortars, which I also do think were a good investment. They're fortunately, again, very much a key part of this attritional strategy versus Vonivan. And I think that described as that basically just from a usually tier 3 rush to basically realizing this isn't working out. I'm going to switch to a strategy of attrition, bleed out my opponent, and then sort of slowly push back onto the field. And it largely worked, though, again, to an extent, because Vonivan was playing into it, possibly to an extent unwittingly, until he realized what was going on. And then I think he made the wrong call there in how to deal with it, and basically just exacerbate the problem. So there you go. I mean, Vonivan would have benefited more from more smoke, a few more deeper assaults, and I think you should just take that fast for some regular Shermans, use them to push ahead while laying down smoke against problematic targets and blasting his way through Fortune. He done, I think, would have won here versus Fortune. But again, he ended up making some rather unfortunate calls. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. Hope you learned something from it. If you did, one, subscribe, tell a friend, share it with everyone. If not, send in replay and some feedback in the comment section. Of course, a big thanks to all my Patreon supporters, without which this episode would not have been possible. So thank you all, and see you all tomorrow for another stunning episode.